Okay, this will do.
Hi, Robyn.
So, should I introduce you?
Yes, you should. You can ask me what's your full name.
This is my mom. How about, what's your full name?
Donna Miller.
Donna. What's your middle name?
Donna Lee Miller.
Does that have any meaning?
Yes, I was named after my mother, whose name was Leonore. She shortened it to Lee, so they named me after her.
Okay. So, tell me about your family growing up.
Okay, well, I have 3 brothers. 2 of them are older, and I have a twin brother. And yeah, my mom, you know, worked all the time. She worked for IBM, and my dad was I forgot what he was. He was like a football coach at times, and then he was like a golf instructor for Temple University. So,
Did anyone else help out around your house when you were growing up?
yes, because my parents worked all the time, we had a live-in housekeeper. Her name was Lily, and she came over from Ireland. So they hired her when my older brothers were born, and then she just lived with them until my brother and I came along.
What is your favorite memory of your mother?
For my mom, I guess just she didn't like dogs, and my brother was taking care of one in his fraternity or something, so they brought the dog home and surprised her with it. We got to keep it because, you know, I don't know, and I remember like the dog would get into trouble, you know, like my mom would come home from work and she made herself a plate of eggs, and she put the eggs on the table and she walked away, you know, for a couple minutes. When she walked away, the dog jumped up, sat in her chair, and ate her eggs. And so she came back, and the dog was sitting there like, "Thank you." So I remember that.
Okay. Can you tell me about the places that you grew up in, the houses or towns?
Yeah. I was born in Philadelphia. The place I lived in, the first town was Ambler, Pennsylvania, and we had a big old house. It was, I don't know how many bedrooms, but my dad had built an addition on because they weren't expecting twins. When they had twins, they kind of got surprised. So he built a part of the kitchen and another bedroom because we had the 4 kids living there and the housekeeper. And yeah, and then I moved to La Mesa, California when I was 16. Smaller house. My parents retired because it was just me and my twin brother, and I was there for about 3 years until I went to college.
Where'd you go to college?
UCSD, University of California, San Diego, in La Jolla.
That's where you met?
Yeah, that's where I met Dad.
So tell me about that.
Well, I knew Dad he was an engineer and so was I, so we had classes together, and he was my TA in one of my classes. And so I knew him, but I wasn't, you know, like dating him or anything. And then I started going to Campus Crusade for Christ when I was in college. And they asked me to do some activity where you had to date a guy. You had to go out on a date, and I thought, well, I'm not going to date him, but I'll just go out and do something. And so I had all these different things to pick from, and his was tennis, and I really like tennis. So I said, okay, I'll take tennis. We went out and played tennis, and we were just friends for a long time. And you know, our first date, he took me skiing, and that's when we ended up in the hospital because I tore 3 ligaments in my knee. And he took care of me, and that was it. You know.
So, whenever y'all first got married, where did y'all live?
We lived in a little tiny apartment just east of the university because Daddy was still finishing his PhD, or Scott was doing his PhD. Okay, and let's see, it was just a little tiny 1-bedroom place that, you know, we couldn't afford much else. So, and I was working, you know, as an engineer.
And then when did you end up coming to Texas?
Well, when Scott finished his PhD, we went, he interviewed various places. We went to University of Florida. We were there for 10 years, I think. And then, Texas A&M called and asked him to come interview out there. And since it was further west, it was closer to our families out in California, we went ahead and did it. And they offered him a job, and we decided to come. And that was, I don't know how many years ago that was now, but yeah.
So what are the main changes that you've noticed in the world since your youth?
Because I work with kids, I get to see teenagers a lot, and I guess I compare them a lot to myself when I was a kid. And there's a lot of similarities, but I think you guys, they have more technology, so much more than we ever did, and they're so addicted to it. Like, they can't, you watch the restaurant, they can't sit there without being on their cell phones or Instagram or, whatever else they're doing. And, the computers and stuff, we didn't even have computers. When we needed to do a research paper, we needed to go to the library. So very different. The access to information, I think it's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing because kids don't just go outside and play anymore or just get creative. So.
What are your hopes for your future?
Oh my. I hope to retire. I mean, I'm a teacher, I'm a teacher and I like teaching, but it's a lot of work. And I think once everybody gets through college, I mean, you're number 3 out of 4, then I'd like to be able to stop because it's just hours and hours of work every day. So.
And what advice would you give to future generations?
Wow. Well, the most important thing of anything for me, obviously, is my faith. And God's got to be number 1, and you got to do what He wants. And if you follow His plan, you'll have a good life, no matter what that is. And when you deviate from that, it can be a problem. So, my advice would be to look for the Lord and listen for what He wants you to do.
Good. Well, this is my mom.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Thank you.
Cool. That was 5 minutes, huh?